As a boy of just 12, Jesus traveled with his parents to Jerusalem for Passover. While his family prepared to return home, he stayed behind, not out of defiance, but to discuss profound questions of faith and life with the temple scholars. When his parents realized he was missing, they searched frantically through the bustling streets of Jerusalem, finally finding him sitting among the elders. Amazed by his understanding, the scholars asked, "Child, why do you ask such deep questions?" And he replied, "Didn't you know I must be about my Father's business?" His wisdom stunned all who heard him, hinting at the extraordinary path he was destined to walk. Legends say that even as a child, Jesus showed signs of miraculous power. One story tells of him creating a small bird from clay, breathing life into it and watching it flutter away. Another tale speaks of his healing abilities, curing minor ailments of those who came to him, even before he began his public ministry. Though these stories may seem fantastical, they reveal an early glimpse of his connection to something greater, a divine purpose that would shape the lives of millions for centuries to come. These early stories of Jesus' wisdom and miraculous deeds offer just a glimpse into a life that would transform the world. In the small Galilean village of Cana, a wedding was about to become legendary. Families and friends gathered, musicians filled the air with song, and laughter echoed through the stone streets. Among the guests were Mary, the mother of Jesus, and her son, who had only just begun to gather a few followers. To everyone, he was a humble young man from Nazareth. But on this day, something extraordinary was about to unfold. As the celebration stretched late into the night, a murmur of panic began to ripple through the crowd. The wine, a symbol of joy and honor at a wedding, had run dry. For the hosts, this was not merely an inconvenience. In their culture, such a failure brought shame that could last for generations. Guests whispered, servants rushed in confusion, and the music faltered. Mary approached her son and said quietly, "They have no more wine." Jesus replied, "Woman, why do you involve me? My hour has not yet come." Yet Mary, with calm faith, turned to the servants and simply instructed, "Do whatever he tells you." Her words carried a weight of trust, as though she already knew something remarkable was about to happen. Standing nearby were 6 large stone jars, each capable of holding 20 to 30 gallons of water. The vessels were used for ritual purification, never for wine. Jesus told the servants, "Fill the jars with water." They obeyed, filling each one to the brim. Then he said, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." Nervously, a servant dipped a cup into the jar and carried it across the hall. As the cup touched the lips of the master, his eyes widened in astonishment. "This is no ordinary wine," he declared. "Most hosts serve the best wine first, saving the lesser for when guests have already had their fill. But you have saved the best until now." What had moments before been ordinary water was now the finest wine anyone had ever tasted. The panic dissolved into celebration, music rose once more, and whispers spread through the crowd. Who is this man? This moment, remembered as the wedding at Cana, became the first public sign of Jesus' miraculous power. It was not a miracle of necessity. No one was healed, no storm calmed. Yet it revealed something profound. It showed his compassion, his willingness to preserve the joy of ordinary people, and the abundance of grace he carried. For his followers, this was more than a wedding story. It was a declaration that with Jesus, even the ordinary could be transformed into the extraordinary. The disciples who witnessed it believed more deeply than ever and the world would soon come to know his name. In the heart of Jerusalem, nearly 2,000 years ago, an event took place that would change the course of history forever. It is a story of betrayal, suffering, and death, yet also of sacrifice, hope, and redemption. This is the story of the crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth. The night before his death, Jesus shared a final meal with his disciples. The air was heavy with tension. He spoke of betrayal, of his body broken, and his blood poured out. His friends did not fully understand, but his words carried a strange, haunting weight. In the darkness of the Garden of Gethsemane, he prayed in agony. His closest companions, exhausted, fell asleep as he wrestled with the burden he carried. Then came the flicker of torches. Soldiers entered the garden, led by one of his own, Judas Iscariot. With a kiss, Judas marked his master for arrest. The disciples scattered in fear, and Jesus was taken away under the cover of night. Dragged before the high priests, he was accused of blasphemy. Struck, mocked, and questioned, he remained mostly silent. By morning, he was brought to the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate. The crowd had gathered, restless and angry. Pilate questioned him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered with words that only deepened the mystery. "My kingdom is not of this world." Pilate found no guilt in him, yet the pressure from the priests and the crowd grew louder. To release him might mean unrest, even rebellion. Following the custom of pardon, Pilate offered a choice: release Jesus or release Barabbas, a notorious prisoner. The shouts rose like thunder, "Barabbas! Barabbas! Crucify Jesus!" Pilate, washing his hands before the people, declared, "I am innocent of this man's blood." Yet he gave the order they demanded. The soldiers took him, stripping away his garments. They scourged him with whips, the cruel lashes tearing into his flesh. They mocked him as a king, placing a crown of thorns upon his head and draping him with a tattered robe. Bruised, bleeding, and weakened, he was forced to carry the heavy wooden cross through the narrow streets of Jerusalem. The road to Golgotha, known as the place of the skull, was lined with onlookers. Some wept, others jeered, and some stood in stunned silence. Along the way, Jesus stumbled under the weight of the beam. A man named Simon of Cyrene was seized by the soldiers and compelled to carry the cross for him. Women in the crowd mourned loudly, and to them Jesus spoke with remarkable calm. "Do not weep for me, but for yourselves and for your children." Every step was agony, yet he pressed forward to the hill where countless had been executed before him. At Golgotha, the soldiers nailed his hands and feet to the cross. The sharp iron pierced flesh and wood, and the sound of the hammer echoed against the stone. The cross was lifted upright, and there he hung, between two criminals. Above his head, a sign was fixed: Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. The crowd hurled insults. "If you are the Son of God, save yourself." The soldiers cast lots for his clothing, laughing as they divided his garments. Yet even in agony, Jesus spoke words that astonished all. "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." One of the criminals beside him mocked, but the other whispered in faith, "Remember me when you come into your kingdom." To him, Jesus replied, "Today you will be with me in paradise." Hours passed. The sky darkened, as though nature itself grieved. With his mother Mary and the disciple John at the foot of the cross, he entrusted them to each other. "Woman, behold your son. Behold your mother." Finally, with a cry that pierced the silence, he declared, "It is finished." and with that, he breathed his last. At the moment of his death, the earth trembled. The great curtain of the temple tore in two from top to bottom. The centurion who stood guard, hardened by countless executions, gazed at the lifeless body and whispered in awe, "Truly, this man was the Son of God." His followers, scattered and afraid, watched from a distance. The body of Jesus was taken down and laid in a tomb, sealed with a great stone. To many, it seemed the end. But in truth, it was only the beginning. From that hill in Jerusalem, the story of the crucifixion spread across empires and centuries, shaping the faith and the destiny of millions yet unborn. The cross, once a symbol of shame and death, became a symbol of sacrifice, hope, and eternal life. The crucifixion of Jesus is not just an ancient event. It is a moment that continues to whisper through history. A story of suffering, yes, but also of love beyond measure. This was the day when history itself bent beneath the weight of a cross. Don't forget to subscribe to Whispers from History and join us as we uncover the hidden tales of history brought to life with AI storytelling.